Okay, we have a few more practice problems to go over. This is using a data set that is not financial in nature, which is a little different than the examples that I've shown so far, but I wanted to show how pivot tables can be useful in a variety of settings. So this right here is a data set of medal counts for all of the Olympic Games through the year 2018. And this data has a column for the year that the Olympics were held, the type of Olympics, winter or summer, the host nation, the rank based on the gold medal count, the country, a country code, the number of gold medals won, silver medals won, bronze medals won, and total medals. So this data set has over 1,600 rows, so this is a perfect data set to use a pivot table on. So let's start with the first question here, which is create a table showing the host country for each Olympic year, group the data by game type, and sort by year. And then it asks us which country hosted the 2002 Winter Games. So we'll come over here and create a pivot table. Instead of going through the ribbon, we'll use the shortcut Alt-N-V. And again, we can see that the pivot table is pulling in all the information with this green dotted line. And we'll add it to an existing worksheet so that we can see our question on the same tab. Okay, so we're going to create a table that shows the host country for each Olympic year. So we're going to have Olympic year in there and the host nation as well. And then it says group data by game type and sort by year. So we're also going to want to put the game type in there. Now you can change the order of each one of these fields, but based on the instructions, we want to group the data by game type. So we'll put that at the very top here, which will create this list showing summer first and then grouping all of those and then winter. And it also says we want to sort by the year. So right now we actually have it sorted by the game type and then the country. So you can see Australia hosted the Summer Games in 1956 and 2000. So those are grouped together. We want to change that. So we'll move the year up one level. And now we have the year in sequential order. Okay. Now again, this is in the compact format. If we wanted to change the report layout, we could come here and show in outline form or even tabular form, and remove the subtotals and repeat all items. Then we have kind of maybe a more clean list from what we might want to see. And the question here is group the data by game type and sort by year. We've done that. And then it asks which country hosted the 2000 Winter Games. So 2002. And the Winter Games in 2002 were in the United States. And I happen to know that that was Salt Lake City, Utah. The next question says to create a table showing the number of total medals won by country, and then to show a column for Summer Games, Winter Games, and a combined total. Then it asks which country has won the most total medals and which country has won the most winter medals. So here in our pivot table, we will bring in the country field into the rows. And then we want to show a column for the Summer Games, Winter Games, and combined total. So we'll put the type in the columns. And you can see it automatically puts a grand total right there. And then we want to look at the total medal count. So we'll come here to total and put that in the values. So now we're showing the total medals won by summer, winter, and grand total for each country right here. And the question is, which country has won the most total medals? To get that, we can just right-click on the grand total and sort largest to smallest. That would be the United States. That's won 2,828 medals. Then it says, which country has won the most winter medals? So again, we can come here and sort largest to smallest on the winter, and that turns out to be Norway, who has won 368 medals. Okay, the next question is asking us to show the percentage of gold medals won by the United States in each host country. And then we're asked to find out what percentage of US gold medals were won when the US was also the host nation. So here we're focusing specifically on the United States. So we'll bring the country field into the filter, and we will select United States. And we want to show this information by host country. So we'll put host country into the rows. And then it's asking for the percentage of gold medals. So we'll put the gold medals into the values here, and we've got the sum of gold medals in each of these host countries. But we want to show the percentage of gold medals that were won. So to do that, we can utilize the Show Values As feature in PivotTables. Again, we can right-click here and quickly use this Show Values As section. So in this case, we've only got one column worth of data, so we can show this as a percentage of the column total, and click that. And now at the very bottom of this, it's 100%. So what this data is showing us is that 6% of all the gold medals that the US has won were won in Australia. So this specific question of asking us what percentage of the US gold medals were won when the US was the host country, we can come down here and look at the United States, and it is 24% of the gold medals were won when the United States also was the host country. Another way that you could have done this pivot table is put the host nation in the columns, which in this case, we've got the various countries in columns. And now you'll notice that the Show Values As is 100% because we're showing the values as a percentage of the column total. So if we were to present the pivot table like this, we would actually want to show values as a percentage of the row total, and then we get the same percentages that we were seeing before because the row total is 100%. This question asks us to create a list of Norway's gold medal rank for each winter game, and then how many times did they earn the most gold medals. So looking back at our data here, we've got this column that shows the gold medal rank, which within each year it's showing us, in this case in 1896, the USA won 11 gold medals, which was the number 1 rank. Greece won 10, which was number 2, etc. So this gold medal rank is unique to each year and type. So coming back to the pivot table, we're specifically looking at Norway. So we'll put country in the filter and filter on Norway. And then we want to, we also want to look at this for each winter game. So we're actually going to filter the type. And this is going to give me an error because it's trying to add a row where I already have data. So we'll now put the filter in here as well. So we're going to filter on winter games. And then we want to show the rank in the values section. And this is showing the sum of the gold medal rank. So what we're going to need to do is show the specific years. So we'll pull year into the rows, and here we can see in 1924, they were the #1 rank, 1928, #1, etc., all the way on down. So this is showing the sum of the gold medal rank, which is okay in this case because there's only one rank for each year. So looking at this list, we're asked how many times they earned the most gold medals. In other words, how many times were they ranked #1? You can spot check this and just highlight all the #1s, and that is 8 there. You could also quickly do a countifs function for this data when the number is 1, and you get 8. This question says, for each country, show the percentage of total medals won in the summer versus winter, and what percentage of Uzbekistan's medals were won in the winter. So because we want to show this by country, we're going to bring country into the rows. We're also needing to differentiate between summer and winter. So we'll put type into the columns to clearly show for each country what the summer and winter medals were like. We're dealing with the total medals, so we'll bring total medals into the values section. And we're wanting to show the percentage of total medals won for each country. So here we want to show values as a percentage for each country, which in this case we put in the rows. So we're going to show that as the row total. So looking at this first line here, 100% of Afghanistan's medals were won in the summer games. And you can see the list there. The specific question that's being asked here is Uzbekistan. So we'll come down here to the U's. And 96.88% of the medals were won in the summer, and 3.13% were won in the winter. If you wanted to see the detail of this, like we looked at in the last practice examples, you can double click any number in that pivot table and it will show you the detail behind it. So you can see here, Winter Games, Uzbekistan won one gold medal in the 1994 Winter Games, but all the other medals that were won were in the summer. Here we're asked to create a list of silver medals won by China by year, and then we're asked what year did China win the most medals and what was the host country. So we're dealing with silver medals. Let's drop that into the values section. And we're also going to look at this by year. So we can drop that into the years section. We're specifically looking at the country of China, so we will filter for China. And it's asking us a list of silver medals and what year China won the most medals. So we can sort that largest to smallest. It was in the year 2012. And then who was the host country? We could pull in the host country right there, and we see that it was Great Britain. This looks a little ugly with the subtotals, so we'll turn those off. If we sort this again, largest to smallest, you'll notice that one downfall with the way that we've set up this pivot table is it's sorting but also grouping by year. So in 1992, we had 2 games, one in Spain and one in France. And you can see that the France 3 here is showing up kind of out of order here, which is unfortunate. If we take the host nation, out of the rows, then the sorting kind of resolves itself. One other thing just to look at real quick, we have the country and the filters here, but you can actually filter in any of the other areas of a pivot table. So if we put in country in your rows right here, you can see that it's showing for all countries right now, but you can click on this down arrow right here and filter on China. And it gives you the same information, but just with China as a column. For this particular example, this isn't necessarily helpful. It makes more sense to have it up in the filters, but you might come across a situation where you would want to have a pivot table and just filter here in the rows section. The last question asks us to create a list of the total medals won each year and to group it by type of games. Then it asks how many more medals were won in the last summer games compared to the last winter games. We're looking at this by year, so we'll bring year into the rows. And we also need to look at this by type, so we can bring in type to the rows section as well. Now it's grouped by type because type is on top. So we have the summer games and all the years, and then the winter games and all the years. And this is asking us to look at the total medals. So we'll bring total medals into the values here. And then we're asked to look at how many more medals were won in the last summer games compared to the last winter games. So kind of interesting to see the number of medals increase over time. In the very first summer games, you only had 122 medals awarded, but then that steadily increases. And in 2016, there were 973. In the winter, you start even lower in 1924 with 49 medals, but that also increases as well, getting up to 307 in 2018. But looking at the question specifically, you've got 973 and 307 are the last years of the summer and winter games. So there are 666 more medals won in the 2016 summer games compared to the 2018 winter games.